coming to the tree where they strung up a man. They say murdered 3. Strange things did happen here. No stranger would it be if we met up at midnight in the hanging tree.
What connects Halifax to the Hunger Games? It's probably not a line that starts many videos on YouTube. Now you'll be pleased to know it's nothing to do with 12 districts of Halifax sending one child out to fight to the death for honour. It's in fact to do with the poet William Wordsworth. Halifax, Hunger Games, Wordsworth. This is going to take some unpicking.
Are you coming to the tree where the dead man called out for his love to flee? Strange things did happen here, no stranger would it be if we met up at midnight in the hanging tree.
So William Wordsworth was a poet from the late 16th century, born in 1770. And amongst his works, perhaps the most famous, and he was a romantic poet, was I Wandered Lonely as a Cloud. There are plenty of others you could choose from. When out once in the snow, he remembered a story once retold to him by his sister about a young girl who went missing and disappeared in tragic circumstances. Putting the snow and the story together, he created the Ballad of Lucy Gray. It is the dead of winter. Lucy and her parents lived in Norland, which is just through the trees on the hillside there. And on this particular day, Lucy's mother had gone into town for some food and some items. But there was suddenly an almighty storm and a very heavy blizzard, and by 2 o'clock that afternoon, the sky was dark. Lucy went to find her father and was a bit in a panic because it had become dark so quickly and her mother had not come home. So her father said to Lucy, "Take this lantern, head down the hill so that there is a light on the hill for your mother to see and to help guide her through the storm to come home." Lucy was determined to get her mother home safe, did exactly what she was asked to do, and set out into the blizzard with the lantern. Not long after this, Lucy's mother returned home, and there was suddenly questions raised. Where was Lucy? She'd gone out to light the way for her mother, but her mother had got back and never seen Lucy en route at all. So mother and father, again up here in Norland, came out into the fields, but the blizzard was so bad all they could do at that point was shout and yell for Lucy's name, but no reply came back to them. Eventually, the storm subsided. Lucy's mother and father opened the door to fields of snow. But faintly in the snow, they could make out these footprints walking away from the house. Lucy's footprints, where she had headed down in the darkness to search for her mother. Mother and father followed the footprints and headed down into a place called Copley. At the bottom, in the valley, was Stern Bridge. The footprints, really surprisingly, went up onto the bridge, up to the middle of the bridge, and then completely undisturbed stopped, almost as if Lucy had just been levitated into the air and she had disappeared. Sadly, the disappearance of Lucy did not stay a mystery for very long, because once the snow had thawed and people could search, Lucy's body was actually found in a canal lock not far from the bridge itself. Now, how she got into a canal lock when she could potentially have fallen off the bridge into the river is a mystery. This is the story that Wordsworth's sister told him as a young man, maybe even as a child, and influenced his story of Lucy Gray. So behind me now is the bridge that connects kind of the Norland side of the valley to the King Cross side of the valley. And before then, there are plenty of bridges now, but before then there was Stern Bridge. Now, it is not an easy place to find, but we're going to try and have a little sneak down here to see if we can find any remains of the bridge. So the original bridge was built in the early 1700s, a little wooden bridge, and that remained in place for hundreds of years, till about 1912, where the wooden bridge was replaced with a concrete bridge. And the remains of the concrete bridge are behind me here and all around, you can see them. So this was the original concrete bridge from over 100 years ago. Around 2012, 2014, due to extensive regeneration in this area, new houses, etc., the concrete bridge was pulled down, and what we've seen today on, I think it's Hollis Lane, something like that, that was built in its place. However, it's good to see there is evidence of the bridge still here. So there's also sections of it here, and obviously we're on a pretty big weir here. You can't see it properly. You see that section, but all on there is water dropping down. You've got more works here, but this I find really interesting, because could this be part of the original wooden Stern Bridge? Maybe they own the bit that remains. It's obviously wood, it's lower down. Would that have gone across here to that section there, maybe, where that heron is now? Wow. However, let's remember, Lucy came down off that hillside there, so let's head across the other side carefully and see what we can find. So I'm not sure quite how close to the river we can get. This is apparently the Copley Lagoon. It is what it is, but the river is beyond there where we were. Yeah, I'm guessing this is all part of the changes here. We'll see, it looks like there might be a path there, and just see if we can see across. So whilst we try and find our way around, you may remember at the beginning of the video I did say, what is the connection between Halifax and the Hunger Games? Well, Lucy Gray is the connection. Now, Lucy Gray is the poem by William Wordsworth. And it may be that if you know the Hunger Games, you'll know that the heroine of the Hunger Games is Katniss Everdeen. However, 2020 there was a prequel written by the author Suzanne Collins called, I think it's called The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, and is set decades before the Hunger Games series that we know. And I guess what you call the Katniss part in that book is a girl called Lucy Gray Baird. And Suzanne made it known that she is named after the Lucy Gray of the Wordsworth poem. Okay, so behind me now we're at the opposite side of the river. You can see the dam in full force here, the weir, sorry. And the planks that you can see there, that's where we were stood, and I thought that was probably the bridge across. I have just found out that actually across there as well was, I think, Stern Mill, so potentially some of that is actually ruins of the mill, not the bridge. If that's the case, there are no remnants of the bridge here, but I think it could well be, in fact, they kind of head towards the water. So Lucy's parents would have come down behind us here and onto the bridge and headed up, and noticed that Lucy's footsteps stopped at the top of the bridge and then vanished. So this is the location it would have been. Might just be able to make out a heron just sat where the bridge would have been. And it is said that on the night of Lucy's passing, that snowstorm night, that her ghost is still seen walking across this area. Now, whether it's been seen since the bridge was taken down, I don't know, but it was for a while at midnight on the night of Lucy's death. Her ghost was seen crossing the bridge, and it's also mentioned in the poem. A film followed in 2023, and the actress who plays Lucy Gray Baird is an actress called Rachel Zegler. And to me, the film didn't make waves for me. I like the original Hunger Games. I didn't feel quite the same about the new one. That's just my opinion, and it's not a bad film. But the soundtrack is good. And unsurprisingly, amongst the soundtrack is a ballad version of Lucy Gray, based on the Wordsworth poem. So I thought, shall I recite the poem for you? And I thought, actually, let's use the one from the film itself.
Oft I'd heard of Lucy Gray, and when I crossed the wild, a chance to see at break of day the solitary child. No mate, no comrade Lucy knew. She dwelt where none abide. The sweetest thing that ever grew upon the mountainside. You yet may spy the fawn at play, the hare among the green, Tonight will be a stormy night. You to the town must go and take a lantern, child, to light your mother through the snow. That, Father, will I gladly do this scarcely afternoon. The village clock has just struck 2, and yonder is the moon. At this the father turned his hook to kindling for the day. He plied his work, and Lucy took the lantern on her way. As carefree as a mountain doe, a fresh new path she broke. Her feet dispersed the powdery snow that rose up just like smoke. The storm came on before its time. She wandered up and down, and many a hill did Lucy climb, but never reached the town. The wretched parents saw that night, when shouting far and wide, but there was neither sound nor sight to serve them as a guide. At daybreak on a hill they stood that overlooked the sea, and thence they saw the bridge of wood that spanned a deep ravine. They wept and turning homeward cried, "In heaven we all shall meet." When in the snow the mother spied the print of Lucy's feet. Then downwards from the steep hill's edge they tracked the footmarks small, and through the broken hawthorn hedge, and by the long stone wall. And then an open field they crossed, the marks were still the same. They tracked them all, not ever lost, and to the bridge they came. They followed from the snowy bank those footmarks one by one, into the middle of the plank, and further there were none. Yet some maintain that to this day she is a living child, that you may see sweet Lucy Gray upon the lonesome wild. O'er rough and smooth she trips along, and never looks behind, and sings a solitary song that whistles in the wind.
Over the years, many stories change, so it's quite surprising to find a story 200 years old that really the only thing that ever alters in it is what happened to Lucy at the end. Some say she drowned in the river, Some say she drowned in the canal lock and these are the places she was found, but some also suggest she was never found at all. But what we do know is that there was a real Lucy Gray who suffered a tragic accident at Stern Bridge in Copley. And thanks to the likes of Suzanne Collins, the legend of Lucy Gray will actually never be forgotten. Thanks for watching. We'll see you very soon for the next video. Take care. Bye for now.
Are you coming to the tree where I told you to run so we'd both be free? Strange things did happen here. No stranger would it be if we met up at midnight in the hanging tree. Are you coming to the tree where a necklace of rose side by side with me? Strange things did happen here. No stranger would it be if we